and we're so pleased to welcome you all today to this candidate forum. These fine people have chosen to serve their community in a very powerful way, and so I'd like to start by thanking them. Running for office is not for the faint of heart, as those that have been doing it for a while can clearly tell you. It is a calling, if you will, and it's a very powerful and an important way to serve your community. So we very much appreciate them doing that, and our goal today is to give you an opportunity to learn more about them and their views, because you'll hear more that this is a forum and not a debate. So they will each have an opportunity to share those things. As I said, I'm from the League of Women Voters, and the League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan, nonprofit, grassroots effort. Has its roots over 104 years ago when women suffragettes were nobly working to get the right to vote. And once that vote was accomplished, the work really just began. And it was considered a noble political experiment to see whether women actually could vote, whether they were intelligent enough to vote and non-emotional enough to vote. And we sure proved them wrong, didn't we? So today you see, yes, that's right. I'm right there with you. Today what you see is that the League's work has broadened tremendously. And in its desire for inclusivity, it's not about gender or race, ethnicity. It's about ensuring that all people have the right, all people who are eligible have the right to exercise the right to vote. And we believe passionately that people vote best when they're informed. And that's what these sessions are really designed to do. So because we have such a large group, a robust discussion is going to follow. I do want to tell you that there will hopefully be time for audience questions. We're still waiting for one candidate. We're a little late getting started, and there's a large group. So there may or may not be time for questions, but if there are, Carmen, would you hold up the card? Yeah, Carmen has note cards, and they are available for you. If you want to jot down a question, just know that any question that is asked would be asked of every one of the candidates. So it's not directed to a single person. So I'd like to first thank our wonderful hosts. We're at this beautiful venue, Rehoboth World Outreach Center, and they have not only graciously allowed us to use this beautiful sanctuary, but also are providing technological support, for which we are deeply grateful. And we thank them for the time and effort it took for them to make this available to the community. We also have many co-sponsors today, and I'd like to introduce the representative from Alpha Kappa Alpha, and each one of the organizations, I believe there are 5, will just briefly tell you who they are and what they stand for.
I am so happy to see so many people out here. Our sorority, Alpha Kappa Alpha, was the first African-American sorority in the United States. And I belong to Tau Upsilon Omega. We're divided into chapters. And here's my other soror, who's also a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha.
Thank you. I'm Kim Miller, and I'm the first vice president of Kappa Beta Omega chapter here in Vallejo. We're excited and honored to participate in this candidate forum today. For Alpha Kappa Alpha, it's about how can we help our community and empower them to get the information they need and have their voices heard. So we're excited to see so many folks come out, especially those who are also maybe streaming us. And we're looking forward for a great discussion on what the plans are from the candidates. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Dr. Gigi Patrick. I'm the co-chair of social action for the Vallejo Alumni chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. And just to tell you a little bit briefly about our organization, we are an international organization of over 350,000 women. We have a 5-point programmatic thrust that drives our work. And at the heart of everything we do, it is public service and social action. So we are happily celebrating our 50 years in service, and we are so happy to be a part of this action because we believe in voter registration, in voter activation, and voter participation. So thank you very much.
Hello, I'm Dr. Alicia Dobbins, and I stand before you as the president of the National Panhellenic Council for Solano County and also a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. The National Panhellenic Council is the collaborative umbrella for the 9 African American Greek organizations, commonly known as the Divine Nine. And those that make up the Divine Nine, too, you've heard here, Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, Delta Sigma Theta, Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, Sigma Gamma Rho, Zeta Phi Beta, and then the fraternities include Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity, Kappa Alpha Psi, Omega Psi Phi, Phi Beta Sigma, and Iota Phi Theta. So those are the 9. We are all service organizations, as was spoken just a moment ago. And as NPHC, we foster just the collaborative actions and dealings of the member chapters. I also stand before you as a member of the LINKS Incorporated. The LINKS Incorporated was established in 1946, also a service organization linking Black families, and we have a very large volunteer, and we are committed to enriching, again, just family connections across the Solano County.
Oh, we're good. We're good. Thank you. And we're really proud for this collaboration because out of this, we're all stronger. The groups, all of the groups that you've met today, work collaboratively to develop the questions that you're going to hear today. And our goal was to try to cover some of the issues that address the depth and breadth of the issues that are part of what's going on in Vallejo today, so that you have an opportunity to understand what each of these candidates represent. We thanked a lot of people today, but there's one group that we didn't thank, and that's all of you. All of you have taken your time today. You've given up part of your Sunday to come to be better informed so that you can vote. And we deeply appreciate that. We know that you have many things that you could do with your time, and we appreciate that you've chosen to take this as one of your actions. So I'm going to turn this over to Janice Adams, who will be the moderator for today.
Welcome, candidates. It's so nice to have you. And I appreciate the time that you've spent getting prepared for today. As Rami mentioned, today is a forum, not a debate. As such, that means all the candidates have agreed that they're not going to address one another. They're only going to address their vision and what they're going to bring to the position. And they are talking to you, the audience, not to one another. The audience has a role too. We're going to ask you to silence your cell phones, please, so that no one wants to be interrupted when they've got their train of thought going. I'm also going to ask you to refrain from applauding, booing, of course you wouldn't do that, or any cheering until we'll give one big round of applause at the end. It just makes the whole day move more quickly, so I appreciate if you'll follow that. As it's wonderful to see you here, but I also want you to know this is being recorded, and the recording of this forum will be posted on the YouTube channel of the League of Women Voters, as well as our website. And I know our partners are also going to be posting the video of it. Several people let me know today they wanted to be here, they couldn't, so they're looking forward to seeing the video. Let's see. The candidates will have 2 minutes for opening statement, 1 minute for each of 6 questions that we've prepared, and a 2-minute for closing statement. Candidates, I'm going to ask you to really wrap it up when you see our timekeeper will give you a 30-second warning that you're halfway through the question, and 10 seconds to finish your thought. The forums, the recording can only be used with permission for the League of Women Voters. It's not intended to endorse or to use for your own purposes. If you wanted to do it, you have to do it in its entirety. I don't know if I already said this, the League is nonpartisan. We don't endorse candidates or parties, and so we do our very best to keep it as fair to every candidate as possible. So we did a drawing and determined who would go first. So is Christina or Tina? Would you rather have me call you? Tina, okay. And then we'll just go to the left and we'll wrap around. So each candidate will have an opportunity to go first. And we're going to start with Tina, and we'll start with opening comments. And we asked the candidates to introduce themselves, share a little about their background and why they've chosen to run for office, and include a bit about their vision for the growth of Vallejo and their plan to improve economic vitality for the city. So Tina, take it away.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to come here with the League of Women's Voters. I don't have my eyeglasses on. I left them at home because I had to rush here after canvassing. So forgive me, fellow candidates. I'm not in the freshest mood right now. Let me thank you, Cookie. This helps. Thank you so much. See, District 6, stick together here. So I am Christina Ariola. Everybody knows me as Tina. I'm a retired executive assistant, a former educator in Oakland and San Francisco. I taught K through 8th grades in theater arts. I'm currently serving as the artistic director of the Myra Theater Guild in Vallejo. That's actually what I did before I got involved in this world of politics. So I am an incumbent, and I am running for re-election for District 6. And I have a lot of work to continue and to complete and look for new challenges that's facing our city. I think we're going in a positive direction, and I hope to be part of that. As far as economic development, the Mare Island New Specific Plan has not been published yet, so we're still waiting for that to come to light so that council can have a chance to weigh in on that. And for me, as far as the waterfront development, I've been very, very focused on the marina, the municipal marina, which is in dire straits, and we need help from our federal legislatives. And thank you for allowing me to introduce myself.
Thank you. There was one thing I meant to mention, and I'm sorry, before I go to our next candidate. All candidates were invited and are here. I'm so pleased that you're all here. We have the 4 candidates for mayor sitting together, candidates for District 1, and candidates for District 6. The one candidate that's not here is the District 3 candidate because there's only one person running, and when there's a single candidate, it's considered an endorsement to have them, so that's why that candidate's not here. Okay, next, please.
Hello, how you doing? Hello, how you doing? My name is Helen Marie. I am running for City Council for District 6. The reason that I am here today as your opportunity is that I have been deeply involved in Vallejo. I've been here for a long time, and I am so pleased to have this opportunity. I stand for a lot of opportunities, visions for growth that I have my hands in already. I've been part of various boards and advisories that I feel my profession and my volunteer can help take not only District 6 to another level, but Vallejo as well. I want to see growth. I want to see business. I want to see pride. I want you to spend your money in Vallejo. And then when you invite your family, you help Vallejo grow up, right? I am part of the STA board, which is Solano Transportation. I'm part of Metro Transportation Committee, that's the state. And for local, I'm a commissioner, and also I'm for housing, and also chair for PAC, for transportation for Soul Trans. I'm in all those things because I feel you're either part of the problem, you're part of the solution. And I choose to be part of the solution. I've been doing the work, and I just want to take us to a higher level. I want to thank you for this opportunity. As you know, we have a whole lot in our brains that we want to tell you about us, but unfortunately, we don't have a lot of time to do that in. So if you have any questions afterwards, please feel free to ask me. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Pippin, could you go next, please?
Yeah, thank you. My name is Pippin Du, and I am a Bay Area native and have called Vallejo home for almost 20 years. I'm a mother of 3 girls and a self-employed realtor. I'm president of the Solano Association of Realtors, the governor's appointment to the San Francisco Bay Ferry, and immediate past president for Vallejo Main Street. And what all those titles mean is that I have volunteered thousands of hours over the last couple of decades, rolling up my sleeves and going to work to improve the community for everyone. I'm proudly stand behind my work while I was on council. I helped create the business retention, expansion, and attraction program that led to the Costco project that is in construction today, which will create new tax revenues, new jobs, and new housing. I termed out almost 2 years ago, and I never stopped working hard for the best interests of our community. I helped connect a private property owner directly with the county. They have successfully helped a little over 100 individuals move off of the streets and into stable housing with full wraparound services. 20% of them have successfully transitioned into independent living on their own, and none of that was at any cost to the city. We need to come up with more collaborative solutions like that. My top priorities are community safety and economic growth and opportunity for all Vallejoans. I am honored to have received the support of hundreds of individuals, small business owners, working men and women, large employers, and organizations such as BWAPA and the Vallejo Chamber of Commerce. I'm excited to get to work with our community, creating a safe, vibrant, thriving Vallejo for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Dwight?
Thank you so much for the time to introduce ourselves. Thank you for the crowd coming out today. My name is Dwight Monroe Jr. I am a Vallejo resident, 10 years. I'm happy to see my wife and my baby here in the audience as well. We live in the Washington Park neighborhood. Just giving a little bit about myself, I'm a small business owner here in the city of Vallejo. We just celebrated our 3-year anniversary with Dwight's Mobile Brake Service, over 200 5-star Google reviews, and just very proud of the work that we do serving the community relentlessly. Currently, I serve on many various boards and commissions here in the city of Vallejo. Currently, I am the Vice Chair of the Economic Development Commission. I serve as a member of the Vallejo Police Chief Advisory Board. I'm also a member of I'm the Vice President at the Vallejo Naval and Historic Museum, President of Angels of Heart nonprofit, and also an executive committee member for the NAACP Vallejo Branch 1081. So with that, I've shown over the past years that I'm truly dedicated to the city of Vallejo, enhancing, really relentless with my efforts here in the city of Vallejo, really boots on the ground. That's my campaign slogan this year, because it really just makes sure that we're showing effort and showing significance to the public works department, to the men and women that work every day in this city that make Vallejo Vallejo. And I'm just truly proud to be here in this opportunity for you guys. Thank you, and I'd love to answer more questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Ravi?
Good afternoon, everybody. Brothers and sisters of Vallejo, thank you so much for coming in and making time on a Sunday afternoon. And I want to thank you, Janice, and all your team. My name is Ravi Shankar, and I have lived next to the city park for about 21 years and enjoyed most of the experiences that I get to share, because all the festivals, parades, events, City Hall, major art walk, farmers market, everything pretty much happens in this major area west of District 4. Speaking of my educational background, I have my Bachelor of Science and Electrical Engineering degree from Bangalore University and an MBA in Information Systems from University of Phoenix. I lived and worked for about 9 years in Phoenix and moved to the Bay Area in 1990. And when my wife found this house, which was her dream house, I just quickly agreed and said yes, because it appears to be the center of activity. In terms of why I'm running, the series of events that happened back in 2008, 9, 10 led me to my neighborhood watch group and to City Hall, where I met Marty Brown and the other council members who brought participatory budgeting in Vallejo. And I got to serve for 7 years, including 6 years on the steering committee and Cycle 5 chair, where I had the privilege to get a proclamation passed for the participatory budgeting and invite all the past members, past presidents, and celebrate that with the community. During that process of PB, I got to know a little bit of city work, and I would love to bring some of the experiences in the direction of making things better in Vallejo.
Thank you. Andrea?
Is it on? Okay. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for putting on this event. My name is Andrea Source. I teach economics at a community college, and I've spent my entire career in public service. I started out after college working in K through 12 education. I served in the Peace Corps in Honduras and El Salvador, which is where I met my husband. And then I was a program manager for a couple of nonprofits, first managing an after-school program at an elementary school, and then managing economic empowerment programs for refugees and immigrants. I went back to school, got my master's in public administration, and then became a professor of economics at the community college level. I just got tenure earlier this year, and now I'm a tenured professor at Diablo Valley College. When my husband and I got to Vallejo, we fell in love with this community, and I started getting involved, first volunteering with survivors of violence, coaching a Girls on the Run team, and then eventually started seeing some of the issues, some of the misconduct and lack of responsiveness in our city, and I connected with some folks and ended up founding the ACLU's Solano County chapter, where we worked for police accountability, housing justice, First Amendment protections. And after getting involved for a few years, I realized that I wasn't going to be able to make the change that I think the community really needs to see as a civilian, that my best opportunity to try and push for that change was to run for office. My goal in running for mayor of Vallejo is to break our cycle of toxic politics and mistrust, rebuild trust in government, and get the government working for the people. I think one of the reasons why we've stagnated to the question about economic activity and development is because we have undue influence of special interests in our politics, and we have special treatment for special interests. A lot of our projects have stagnated, so I'm not taking any money from developers or PACs or any special interests, and I'm gonna be a champion for our community and fight for the people at every turn, because that's what I've done my whole career.
Thank you very much. Carl, thank you.
My name is Carl Bonner, and I'm running for District 1 here in Vallejo for the City Council. Many of you may or may not know me. I've been a resident here for 56 years. I was born, raised, and educated here, and I just was compelled to run after sitting on the sideline for so long and watching the decline of Vallejo. What do I bring is expertise in terms of directing Vallejo to the future. I've been a peace officer for 39 plus years. Currently, I'm employed as a lieutenant of inspectors. I supervise 70 plus investigators, and I additionally manage another 300, or assist in managing another 300 attorneys, support staff, and administrative staff in Alameda County. What do I bring? I've been here before. I've worked in Oakland as a peace officer. I've worked in San Francisco and Alameda County. I've worked narcotics, homicides, the things that are hurting Vallejo right now that seems to be impeding its forward progress is prosperity, is public safety, and it's no mystery. And until we get past that, until we take care of that, until we become healthy again, all the aspirations and the investment opportunities, nobody's going to come here because they're not going to want to come here because it's not safe. And that's the perception that is out there. And I don't want to be the doom and gloom person to bring that up, but I have the experience, I'm going to repeat that again, the experience, not how to do it, want to do it, where do you do it? They have done it. And so I want to get this community back on its feet and point it in the right direction. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Alex?
Thank you, Janice, and good afternoon to everyone for coming out this afternoon. My name is Alex Matias, and I am also a candidate for District 1, which represents the northeastern portion of Vallejo. I am running to build a Vallejo that works for everyone, a Vallejo that is safe, a Vallejo where if you want a job, you can find it, and a Vallejo where there is opportunity for all folks, no matter where you live or sit in our city. I come to this race with close to now 6 years of commission experience, both recently completing a term as chairman of the Economic Development Commission for the city, and currently serving as chairman of the Code Enforcement Appeals Board, where I have looked for ways to move us past the challenges that have plagued us for a long time. I currently serve as a vice president for a kids nonprofit that works to get more funding into schools, works to ensure there's clean air and clean water, and also it works to ensure that there's equity for all kids across our state. And so I very much look forward to continuing to build on the work that I've moved through the commission to realize this city's potential with action, not just promises. Thank you so much, and I look forward to answering any questions.
Thank you. Brenda?
So hi, I'm Brenda Placati, and I am also running for City Council of District 1. I've lived in Vallejo now almost 27 years, so I've watched us kind of go through a decline in how we are surviving with our city. I believe very much in we have to get the community back involved. That's my goal, is the community is what's going to help the council move things forward, and we cannot do it alone. My background is human resources and payroll, so I think that's something that the city really needs, is somebody who understands problem solving for people, negotiations, working with different vendors, users, and those types of people. I really believe that my background is a spot that is missing currently on the council. So I'm running because I believe in the city. I'm currently my second term as the vice chair of the Civil Service Commission, and I am the chair of the Marina Advisory Committee. I've served as president through other nonprofit organizations here in Vallejo, and I also run my own nonprofit for traumatic brain injury caregivers. So I really believe in supporting the people and getting the people involved, and that's why I'm running. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, now we'll start with our first question, and Cookie, you will be the first one to respond. The question is, given Vallejo's history of police-related controversies, what specific steps will you take to ensure greater accountability and transparency in the police department? And how will you work to rebuild trust between law enforcement and the community?
Thank you for that question. So far, I would like to continue to support the body cam, most definitely, and the commissions that are established. I want to continue to support that, advocate for it, data, transparency. As you probably already know, we do get to see how many arrests have been taking place. I would like, in how many accidents or how many times the police have came out, what are the response time. I would like to continue to support that, because to me, that begins to go to another level. To develop trust, I would like to incorporate again, such as the late night basketball that we had for our youth. I don't know if you all remember that, but we had that with our police department, ambulance, and fire department. And in that, we built not only trust within our youth, but also with the police officer and the community. I myself would like to have that collaboration and that network with our police officers. Again, training is important, a bias, and I appreciate that.
Thank you very much. Candidates, if you want me to repeat the question at any time, just let me know. Otherwise, it's the same question. Pippin.
All right, thank you. So we do need to move forward with the police reform initiatives that began while I was on council. It is important that we move forward with those swiftly so that we can begin creating the community policing model that we all want and deserve. We have a newer staff, average is 4 years of experience, and they are excited to be a part of creating that new narrative for our community. I also supported the creation of the iHeart program, which is dedicated to mental health calls for service. And also they've been taking some of the lower priority calls for service off of the sworn officers as well. But our biggest challenge right now is that we don't have enough officers to respond to the calls for service. We only have 36 officers on patrol, 3 to 4 for any given shift, and over 400 calls for service per day. We have to get the sheriff's support and CHP's support immediately so that we can begin doing all of the work that we know needs to happen to have a department that we love and deserve. Thank you.
Thank you. Dwight?
Yes, thank you for that well thought out question. So as mayor, I will prioritize accountability and transparency within the Vallejo Police Department. First, I will work closely with the city manager and police chief to ensure the timely completion of the remaining reforms out of the 45, with a realistic goal of achieving as many as possible by the end of 2025. I will make these reform efforts public and accessible to the public so that there is clear visibility on progress. Second, I will urge my fellow council members to actively support these reforms and serve as bridges between the community and law enforcement. Rebuilding trust is a collaborative effort that requires both policy change and public engagement. I will personally attend town halls and community events hosted by VPD to maintain open lines of communication and foster mutual understanding. Finally, I'll address the past issues head on, particularly addressing the controversial badge bending allegations.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Ravi?
Thank you. I can think of a couple of them in no specific order. Past dissatisfactions haven't been fully resolved, partly because none of the past mayors or the current one may have acknowledged the mistake done, or the police chiefs of the past and present and the interim ones. So if they don't admit an error being made, a mistake being made, where is the question of taking corrective action? So that's one thing I would think of very immediately with the help of the entire council. I think of holding the Vallejo Police Union accountable. That is easy to say, but I'm not sure exactly how, because they are a very strong, powerful group, but I would love to address that with the United Council. I would love to get drug testing mandatory for the police officers and also get them mental health services training. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Andrea?
Great. Thank you. So I've been a very vocal advocate for police and reform and accountability for many years now. And despite some of the progress we've made, the Surveillance Advisory Board, which I chair, the Police Oversight Commission, which still has yet to be seated, I haven't seen the reform that I think the city needs, and the Department of Justice agreed because they sued us last year for unconstitutional policing. So we have a lot of work to do. The first thing we need to do is hire a good reform chief that'll have the respect of both officers and the community and be ready to implement that community policing model and reform. And what the mayor and council and everyone can do is support that chief, because the last chief that tried to do that work wasn't supported and was pushed out. We need to do it right this time. What the mayor can do is bring in reinforcements. We need support from California Highway Patrol. We need support from Sheriff. I'm going to be working with the governor's office and other agencies to get us that support so that our department can free up and complete the reforms. And I have relationships with the Department of Justice, so I'm excited to partner with them to make sure that we do complete those reforms in good faith.
Thank you. Carl?
Leadership, leadership, leadership. Accountability and leadership. By appointing the proper chief and supporting staff, that's the start of healing the relationship with the police department and the community. Another caveat of mine in terms of my experiences, we were guided by time-proven community-oriented policing and problem solving. And one tool that we used was a community grid system. In that system, each beat officer was assigned to a particular section of the city, and other than general patrol, that was their section. They were given an email, they were given a number, and anytime something came up in a problem in the city, they contacted that officer, so you wouldn't have to go through all the bureaucracy for a small problem in your area. That's how you solve this problem, with relationships. You have to continue to build relationships over time, and that's how you bridge the gap between the community and the police department.
Thank you very much. Alex?
Thank you. So anytime I'm asked this question in particular, I always sort of center my own experience as a man of color who grew up in a community where we were disproportionately stopped and frisked time and time again. And the toll that had on me growing up as a teenager. And at the same time, the thought that ran through my mind of what was happening versus what the police force was also providing was safety for me to be able to get to school and for me to be able to get to work. And so obviously I will continue to move forward the reform that's currently underway, but similar to what Carl just shared, I think it's important for us to move forward with community policing. We have to make sure that there is assigned officers to each of the quadrants. That already has been done, but the problem goes back to recruitment. And so we have to make sure we staff up our department, we have healing conversations, and we move reform forward, which also includes hiring ethical officers to keep our city safe and to have trusting relationships. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Brenda?
So, like everybody has said here, it's our top of the line thing is public safety. I've been in conversations with the Solano County Sheriff, Ferrara, asking how he's going to support Vallejo. What does that look like? I've also called the CHP to see how they would be able to support us better. So I'm already opening those doors of communication with them to see how they best can support Vallejo to help us get the lawlessness back under control. I have also really strongly believe in the iHeart program, and I support the CURB program, which is for the Critical Incidents Review Board. And I want to see the Police Oversight Committee get going because it's an important factor to be able to share information out. I'm going to work towards the transparency of what's going on so that people know, because we have to rebuild the trust, and our officers are working hard to try and do that now.
Thank you. Tina?
Thank you. So this is dear and dear to my heart. It's no secret how I've been outspoken about this. But as long as the city denies justice for the families who have been impacted by police violence, trust will only continue to deteriorate. So we're failing at transparency, which is essential, and the city manager, under the council's authority, must hold him accountable. So right now, we're waiting to hopefully get a new police chief by the end of the year. That's our utmost goal, and when that happens, I'm gonna see recruits are gonna be coming in, and I will continue my fight to get the CHP patrolling Sonoma Boulevard to address those sideshows and sexual trades on Sonoma Boulevard. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, our second question, and we'll start with Pippin on this one. Considering extensive community needs and finite financial resources, please identify your top budget priorities. How do you plan to attract new businesses and investments to Vallejo?
Yeah, thank you. So the current council has set over 30 top-tier priorities. Best practices recommends no more than 3 or 4, because when everything's a priority, nothing actually progresses. So I think we need to set community safety and economic growth and opportunity as our top priorities, and make sure that we dive deep into the budget with all of our departments to make sure that we are aligned with those goals. Also, I think we need to attract industries and grow industries that are in line with our existing assets. I met with Congressman Garamendi and the Secretary of the Navy to hear how they are looking to grow the shipbuilding and ship repair industry in the San Francisco Bay Area. I also talked with the Vice Chair of the Green Empowerment Zone that is looking at manufacturing wind turbine parts and was asking if that would be something Vallejo might be interested in. And I think we absolutely should look at all of those type of industries and look at how we can create pathways to those careers for our kids and for our adults to create better economic opportunities for all. Thank you.
Thank you. Dwight?
Thank you. As mayor, my top budget priorities will focus on 3 key areas: public safety, investing in our youth, and improving our city's infrastructure, particularly roads and overall cleanliness. To attract new businesses and investments, I will prioritize making Vallejo safe and welcoming both residents and entrepreneurs. Business owners consistently cite safety as a critical factor for influencing their decisions to invest here. By strengthening public safety measures and addressing homelessness through increased shelter capacity, we can foster a more secure environment. I will advocate for expanding shelter resources in partnership with religious communities and nonprofits to more effectively serve those in need. My commitment to a cleaner Vallejo is evident through my hands-on experience. I have personally volunteered with over 100 citywide cleanup projects with organizations like Angel of Heart, Watch Me Grow, and the Washington Park Neighborhood Association. Thank you.
Thank you. Ravi?
Yes, thank you. I can think of a couple of priorities. Of course, public safety continues to be number 1 for all of us. We have some deficiencies and setbacks, and we need to really get back to the levels when we did better with lesser number of cops a long time ago. I would focus on creating a cumulative budget reserve by not using them for other emergencies, but to keeping it for a longer need. I would liquidate unused property and prevent and reduce waste in any way possible, and do everything I can to reduce lawsuits. Thank you.
Thank you. Andrea?
Thank you. I've spoken a lot throughout the campaign about the need to audit our finances, and I'm going to request an independent forensic audit because of the amount of waste and mismanagement and kind of smoke and mirrors and lack of information on where our tax dollars are going. I think we have the priorities. Public safety, we've got a $62 million police budget, but we're budgeted for 137 officers and we only have about 70, and nobody at the city can say where the rest of that money is going. And it's frustrating as a taxpayer and offensive as a taxpayer to not know where your money is going. So the first thing we need to do is figure out, the budget isn't balanced. It's balanced on salary savings, and we need to figure out where we really stand, restructure the city so we're not so top heavy in management, and make sure the positions that we're funding and staffing are the ones that are going to get the results on the ground that are going to help folks out. And I think that connects to economic development, because the way you attract businesses and investment is you make sure that you have a stable city, a city that's fiscally stable, properly staffed in planning and development, and transparent in how it issues permits and things like that, so businesses are set up for success when they come here.
Thank you. Carl?
First, let's have a consistent, balanced budget. That's the foundation and platform that you would want to work with. Then let's in the process, let's introduce more oversight committees from the public. What is there to hide? The budget is a public process. Let the public see what's going on, how we're counting our nickels and our dimes. I would personally, because there's a lot of grant money, and Vallejo has lost the opportunity many times last year with the retail theft. This year, they missed out on some more grant money. I would appoint a director of grant development and compliance and hire more grant writers. That's a lot of money that's being passed over that Vallejo could use. As far as attracting businesses, let's clean up Vallejo. Let's look the part. Let's get rid of the blight, the vacant buildings, the empty storefronts, the 3,000 abandoned vehicles. Let's control the illegal dumping. Let's re-beautify the city park system. Then let's work on the incentives, the tax breaks, the red tape, and streamline the process. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Alex?
Thank you. So, two of the three campaign priorities that I have are centered around community well-being, and that's everything from making sure we staff up the police department, making sure we address sideshows, and making sure your streets are repaved. And so that's where you're going to see me prioritize the community's well-being, addressing the quality of life issues that each and every one of you is experiencing. Number two, my second priority is economic opportunity. And one of the things that's coming up is the presentation of a new economic development strategic plan that my commission advocated for, and we had community engagement meetings last year. There's only $200,000 at this moment to fund that plan. We need to continue to fund it to be able to have our existing businesses expand and attract new businesses. And so those are the two areas I would be pushing for to improve your life day in and day out. Thank you.
Thank you. Brenda?
Hello? Okay. So for financial responsibility is one of my main platform items. And I sat through the budget process this year. I watched what they did. They took the last year budget, changed it a little bit, and moved it forward. That's not creating a budget. They left all the job openings that were open last year and the year before, they brought them forward. We need to make sure that when they are proposing a budget, each department from the city, it is a true budget. They have to look forward and see what projects are coming. Instead, they don't look forward. They haven't seen the things that are happening. So it's very important that we're looking at where the money needs to go before the budget is finalized. And then we need to look at the general funds. Where is that money going? We need to be able to understand that and explain that back out. Thank you.
Thank you. Tina?
Test. Thank you. I would definitely support forensic auditing. So one of the candidates down the row there, I can't see who that was, but I would definitely be behind that 100%. And we could start by paring down, first of all, the permits. We want to get more businesses in here. The red tape that's at City Hall for these businesses is horrendous. We've got businesses forgetting about Vallejo and going to other cities and counties to get their business up and going because they cannot get their foot in the door. So we need to tap into that. Absent businesses with infrastructure needs in return for their already tax breaks. Well, let's incentivize some folks so that we can get the downtown up and running by helping those landlords, helping those would-be businesses to come in and open up shop in Vallejo without having them have to do the infrastructure. The property owners should do it. Thank you.
Thank you. And Cookie?
Thank you so much. As you can see, we've been reading this book this is the adopted budget. For me, I think it's a lot of things, as my colleagues have already said. I would like to address the budget by the top priorities would focus on enhancing public safety, investing in the community service, and improving infrastructure. First, I would like to allocate resources to help our police and fire department and to ensure safety for our residents. Second, I would like to prioritize funding for mental health services, youth programs, and addressing community needs. Lastly, I would advocate for investments for our roads to be fixed. Public transportation, but most importantly, beautification. Make sure our areas for land use that is used wisely, and then take care of issues that have not been addressed, such as these abandoned buildings. We have so much opportunities to put into our community, and as my colleague said, most importantly, fees are hurting us. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. For our next question, we'll start with Dwight. The question is, adequate affordable housing, the unhoused, and food insecurity are critical areas of need. How do you envision addressing these critical issues?
Thank you. So as mayor, I will prioritize increasing the supply of affordable housing by advocating for zoning reforms that allow higher density developing, streamlining approval processes, and creating tax incentives for affordable housing projects. I will explore public-private partnerships to develop mixed-income housing, ensuring Vallejo remains accessible to all income levels. Addressing the unhoused community requires both short-term relief and long-term solutions. I will advocate for expanding shelter capacity across the city, across both city and county levels, while strengthening partnerships with faith-based communities and nonprofits to provide temporary housing, mental health support, and addiction services. These partnerships are key to create solutions that have a lasting impact for decades to come. To tackle food insecurity, I will work to support and promote local food distribution centers like Faith Food Fridays and the Boys and Girls Empowerment Group, ensuring that families in need have access to resources like CalFresh as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Ravi?
Thank you. I would think of a couple of examples recently and delayed set up in the form of affordable housing on Sacramento Street. I would love to have a model roughly the same size, 40, 50, 60 units, in all the 6 districts of Vallejo, including Hidden Brook. I would also look at offering to homeowners who can create an ADU with the help of the county and federal governments. I would also look at unoccupied homes and give them incentives or proper warnings to encourage better occupancy rate. Thank you.
Thank you. Andrea?
Yeah, so I also believe we do need to build more housing. That's the only way we'll get through the housing crisis long term, and ensure that our economic development projects generate mixed use retail housing of all types and also create living wage jobs, because you've got to look at some of the root causes of addressing poverty, of addressing food insecurity, of addressing homelessness. You know, look at those push factors that lead people to be insecure and try to address that at the root cause. There's been a lot of waste in the city of Vallejo, particularly with respect to addressing homelessness and housing projects. So we've got to stop throwing good money at bad and start using data-driven solutions. There are solutions to homelessness that have worked in neighboring cities. Martinez, Fairfield, Novato, Santa Rosa have done safe camping parking zones, transitioned people into affordable housing at a much lower cost than what Vallejo has spent on some of these other ballooning, wasteful projects. So let's use data, let's bring people together, and let's collaborate with the county as well to try to bring more resources here to address these issues.
Thank you. Carl?
Vallejo is already mandated by the state to have a certain number of affordable housing units that's statutorily driven by 2030 or 2032. As far as the unhoused, that is a complex issue that no one seems to have the ultimate answer for. I know we're supposed to be opening another navigation center soon with 125 beds, but it ultimately doesn't take the number of unhoused that were counted in Vallejo. There was another theory about trying to address that from the beginning of the process before they become unhoused, but I'm looking into that to see the tenets of that. As far as food insecurity, it's unacceptable here in America. Everyone should be able to eat here in America, and maybe additional food banks, targeting the vulnerable who are vulnerable to being food insecure. Thank you.
Thank you. Alex?
Thank you. Couple things. We got to start finishing the projects that are already underway now. The Broadway project, the Navigation Center, those things got to get done. And so we have to prioritize that. And at the same time, as Mr. Monroe alluded to, we also have to look at our code to look at ways to have more denser housing become available as an option here in our city. At the same time, one of the things I've talked about is looking at more cost-effective ways to build. The Sacramento project is an example of that, where they use modular to build those units. And so we have to continue to look at options that make it easier for folks to build in our city. And when it comes to food insecurity, what I would say is we have to meet folks where they're at. We are and continue to attract new businesses that provide a range of fooding options. But I think we have to use both existing vehicles to get food to folks, our schools, the nonprofits that already provide food for folks, and then on top of that, get farmers markets into communities. So those would be the things I'd fight for. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Brenda?
So long-term, yes, housing is a necessity. But in between now and then, what are we doing? There's a number of groups out there that are regional, that are trying to help with the unhoused. The COC, Consortium of Care, they are very big in Solano County, and we need to partner with them. They have a lot of ideas and resources that we need to be using. We need to work with all of our nonprofits to see where they're filling the gaps and where there are gaps that we need to fill. We need to make sure who's getting fed, who's not getting fed, and we need to be able to support them from all avenues. But our biggest thing is we have to build our relationships with the other organizations that are already created and are already doing the great job. We are not going to start from square one. We need to jump in and get the help that we need now.
Thank you. Tina?
Glasses over. All right. Food and housing. So right now there is some housing going up in a very disenfranchised neighborhood in South Vallejo, and the owners of Harbor Park Apartments are building an additional 120 new units of affordable housing households at 50% of the area and medium income, 45% of those units affordable to households at 80% of the AMI. Regarding the unhoused, you know, we have a lot of predatory motels here in Vallejo that are attracting all kinds of nefarious activities, which sexual trade and drugs. If we were to get at the root and take over through eminent domain or whatever legal possibility, we can turn those motels into housing, just like they did in West Sacramento very successfully. It's already built. We don't have to start from scratch with $350,000 modular units. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for this opportunity. Once again, as was mentioned, on my property where I live, we have over 122 that will be going up, and 40% will be addressing the low-income community. Also, to tackle issues, the adequate affordable housing, we also have existing programs that are existing, such as the Broadway project, the project that's supposed to be taking place within 4 years on Sonoma Boulevard to address those issues in South Vallejo specifically, the Navigation Center. To address the food insecurities, we are needing to partner with our communities, such we have food distributions, but we need to find out we have grocery stores, reliable grocery stores. I like to incorporate an opportunity to put, to have grocery stores put into our community that will be precise, healthy opportunities. We have more liquor stores than we have grocery stores. Thank you.
My apologies for the feedback there, I'm sorry. Pippin?
Thank you. So the housing shortage in California is equal to the housing shortage in all other 49 states combined. The housing crisis is real and it's significant. We must build more housing of all income product types and make them accessible and attainable to all income levels. I would also say with our unhoused population, I mentioned earlier the private property owner that I connected directly with the county, and they helped a little over 100 individuals. They are now looking at opening another 50 units. And I connected a second private property owner that is looking at doing about 7 units. And more of those types of solutions, because none of that costs the city any money at all, and no liability. So creating more of those solutions swiftly will be the solution for our unhoused population. And then with the food insecurity, we need to partner and collaborate with distribution networks that are providing food right now, like the Food is Free Solano, or Operation Gobble Gobble with Assemblymember Lori Wilson. Like, these are all great opportunities to collaborate together and provide those networks for our folks. Thanks.
Thank you. I'm going to ask the audience, is the feedback troublesome out there, or is it okay? The sound is okay? Then thumbs up? I'm sorry, I'm not. Yes? Yes, if you know how to do such a thing. This isn't, yeah, there's something that's, if the audience isn't bothered by it, I suppose it's okay, but it's a little bit of feedback up here. Yeah, I know, I agree. Well, thank you very much. Yeah, all right, our next question is going to start with Robbie. When everybody gets seated, thank you for your help. Yeah, that's much better. Thank you, you solved it. Okay. What actions would you take to enhance the physical image of the city of Vallejo? How would you support the current efforts of beautification and reducing blight in various Vallejo communities?
Thank you. The image of Vallejo is both what lately in the last few years we have been seeing in terms of the blight and the dumping and all of the other not so desirable items being thrown all around, but also the image created by some of the past and current serving council members. If we don't look at it ourselves, inside ourselves first, our government first, how can the public speak about the not so desirable image of Vallejo outside? So I would look at that. I would also look at promoting positively all these everyday simple little stories in City Hall and in all the media possible constantly. I would also look at What other lessons can we learn from some of these sister cities of Vallejo and also the cities in the county of Solano? Thank you.
Thank you. Andrea?
Yeah, playing drums in college finally came in handy. I've maintained that a lot of the issues that we're facing in Vallejo are due to a lack of accountability, and I think the blight in public spaces connects to that. We need to figure out who is responsible for cleaning up certain spaces and maintaining certain spaces, and making sure that we're delivering on the promised schedule. What we have budgeted is the problem that we need to budget more for cleanup. Some of our neighborhoods pay landscape maintenance districts, and it's even hard to tell if we're getting the services for that. So there's a need to almost do, a performance audit to see, are we getting what we're paying for, where we need maintenance, and where might we invest some more resources. Creating something like a safe camping or parking zone for our unhoused would do a lot to allow us to clean up some of our spaces, especially downtown, because it allows us to put folks where they have basic sanitation, porta potties, dumpsters, and it'll eliminate some of the blight and allow us to clean up some of that. And then we've, of course, got to go after the illegal dumping and figure out, with the resources we have, how do we get on a good schedule to make sure that we're cleaning up, whether it's mattresses or abandoned vehicles, that we're cleaning up dumping throughout the city.
Thank you. Carl?
Thank you. I'd give an immediate facelift to our entire city park system. I'd also expand the responsibilities of the Beautification Advisory Commission, if it still exists, by tracking and the resolution of the issues of vacant buildings, empty storefronts, abandoned vehicles, street maintenance, overall city landscape and illegal dumping. That is all the fabric of the community. If you don't get those subset issues on track, nobody will come here for business. No one will come here to invest. We really need to do that, because if you want to be the part, you got to look the part. Thank you.
Thank you. Alex?
Thank you. So I'll share a couple of things that we've already started to push forward and what I would continue to push forward if I'm elected council member for District 1. So number one, we restarted Vallejo Main Street, a nonprofit that's focused on the downtown area, and we recently got a small grant to beautify our alleyways. We're going to start with one of the alleyways, and hopefully that serves as a pilot to look at our other alleyways. I also want to look for grant funding from the Forest Service to plant more trees across all of our medians and our streets across the city. And then in addition to that, the Economic Development Commission in 21 pushed for a storefront facade improvement program. It got money, but there was staff turnover and they couldn't implement that plan. And so I want to make sure I re-champion that idea to make sure our storefronts are updated. And I think those steps, in addition to keeping our city clean, engaging in cleanups and whatnot, will ensure that we're beautifying our city and making it a home for business and for our residents. Thank you.
Thank you. Brenda?
So I've done some research on this, and I think one of the things that Vallejo can do, which would not hit our budget, is to get a task force to follow a plan that Hayward has already put in place and has worked really good. It's called the Clean and Green program. And so it's people adopting their streets again, people adopting their neighborhoods. Again, we need our community involved to get out and help us fix our city. We need everyone's involvement and engagement to start to clean up and beautify our town. And as far as the blight, I do think we need to work with the owners of the buildings to figure out why they are not updating them so that they are busy. We should not have any empty storefronts. There are plenty of businesses that want to fill them. We just need to get them used. Thank you.
Thank you. Tina?
Thank you for that. So beautification and blight. We have a huge budget for the August nights, the downtown thing. I don't think they need all of that money, but if we took some of that money, a portion of it, maybe $100,000, and give that to local artists to paint our alleyways with murals. And I would like to see murals in all of our districts, District 6, District 1, District 3. Everyone have a mural painted by our local artists that would depict that neighborhood's culture and vibrancy. And with each of those council districts, then every council area would have a representation. The storefront owners, empty, fine them. Fine them big.
Thank you. Cookie?
I would like to continue to partner with the city staff and GVRD. We do have a volunteers person who can help us continue that relationship and funding. To enhance the physical image of Vallejo, I would prioritize opportunities to approach includes increasing community engagement to beautification projects, supporting local artists and public art incentives, and collaborate with the city department to improve infrastructure maintenance. I would advocate for establish of community cleanup days and plant trees and have events to foster pride amongst residents. Additionally, I will support existing efforts by allocating funds for landscape improvement in public spaces and incentive property owners to maintain their priorities through grants and tax break. By promoting partnership with local organizations, focusing in reducing blight with creative, a unified vision for a cleaner, vibrant Vallejo that reflects the community's values and aspirations.
Thank you. Right under the wire there. Thank you. Pippin?
Thank you. So I had the opportunity to tour Charlotte, North Carolina with the Charlotte staff, and they had an interesting program called a Neighborhood Matching Grant Program. And these proposals came from within the neighborhoods, things that they wanted to see in their neighborhoods, such as a pop-up market. One had more pedestrian access throughout the neighborhood. And the matching part was volunteer hours from the neighborhood. So they were able to create these projects that were really what they wanted to see, and it created this pride in place and empowered them to take more responsibility for the area surrounding their neighborhood. And I think coming up with creative solutions like that really involve the community and help them create what proposals and things they want to see in our community is how we've changed that narrative.
Thank you. Dwight?
Thank you. So my campaign has always been boots on the ground, demonstrating my commitment to making Vallejo a cleaner city. I've consistently participated in led cleanup efforts across various neighborhoods. And as mayor, I will continue to lead by example. We must clearly communicate a citywide priority for cleanliness and adopt a zero-tolerance policy on littering and illegal dumping with increased public education campaigns to raise awareness and promote responsible disposable practices. To enforce these standards, I will advocate for stricter fines and penalties for individuals and businesses caught dumping illegally or littering in public spaces. At the same time, I will work to expand our capacity of our public works departments, ensuring that we have adequate staffing and resources to address blight, respond to online complaints, and maintain cleanliness around the city. Currently, the department is understaffed, and I will push for increased hiring to create more dedicated teams focused on regular maintenance, street cleaning, and rapid response to the community's concerns.
Thank you. And Robert, you started that one, right? So the next question is going to start with Andrea. And the question is, cities cannot afford to work in isolation. How would you support greater integration of city agencies with other local, state, and federal entities to better utilize resources?
Yeah, this is such an important question and something where I believe we can and should have a lot more leadership out of the mayor's office. There's the collaboration with our neighboring cities and then our collaboration with our officials up the chain, county, state, and federal. With our neighboring cities, I'm excited to have the support of Benicia Mayor Steve Young and American Canyon. I have strong relationships with both of the mayoral candidates there. We really need to repair the relationship between those cities because our partnership is important, not just to bring resources to our area, but to push back on things like the Highway 37 toll. You've got to have that collaboration. I'm really excited to have Cassandra James coming in as our next Solano County Supervisor and to have her endorsement and support and partnership. We're excited to bring our fair share of resources to Vallejo and put it to use for people. And then I'm excited to have Christopher Cabalden as our new state senator, work with him and build on the relationships I have with his office and Congressman Garamendi's office to make sure that when bills are passed at the state and federal level, that we're able to bring those resources to Vallejo and put it to work.
Thank you. Carl?
Thank you. Create a committee of talented individuals that solely do that for Vallejo. They reach out and look for resources that are going to help Vallejo prosper. There's state, federal resources. There are cities that have similar dynamics like Vallejo, and there are cities that don't. If these individuals are constantly looking for sources, resources, ways to drive the economy, ways to grow, ways to invest, then you have at least you're a little bit ahead of the curve, and you'll be pointing in the right direction in terms of creating those opportunities for you in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Alex?
Thank you. Two quick thoughts on that. When it comes to sort of city synergies, one of the things we were able to do through the Code Enforcement Appeals Board was have conversations with the previous city manager. And through that process, we figured out that hiring code enforcement officers actually took more steps and a longer time period if they were housed under the police department than instead having them housed under the planning and building department, which is where they're sitting now. So I think as a council member and as a council at large, you have to find ways to serve as a thought partner to the city manager so you can streamline things and then look at best practices of things that are going on in other cities that can be implemented here. When it comes to relationships with regional and state partners, our campaign does count with the support of county supervisors and state officials that will be taking over in January. And so similarly there, I will be not just relying on them to share their experiences with me as an elected of what worked in their cities, but I would also be advocating for the city so we get more resources to tackle the issues that we need to address here in town. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Brenda?
Thank you. So as I've said all along, relationships are primary, the most important thing for Vallejo to move forward. And as I also stated, I've already started those relationships with the county sheriff. I've been meeting with different people from different organizations outside of Vallejo to help bring in relationship and support for Vallejo. I'm looking forward to working with Cassandra and Monica Brown and all the new people that get elected come January. It's very important that we are talking and that we are sharing ideas, because it's going to be everyone's input that moves Vallejo forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Tina?
Thank you. So clearly, we need public and private partnerships. We can't do this alone. You're absolutely right. We do have lobbyists. The city of Vallejo has lobbyists. We have them on the state, and we have them on the federal level. But we're not getting enough updates from them, and we're not getting feedback as to what council has prioritized for them to go seeking funds for. So that's a constant follow-up with emails and how is that project going. Yes, we're going to have some new electeds on the state level, and that's something that we need to pursue on the highest level. We've been trying to get legislatures to come down and fix the marina and give us funding, and that's been going on now for 4 years. So maybe somebody up there in Congress will come down and help us. Thank you.
Thank you. Cookie?
Sitting on the STA board, I've noticed how they partner with the communities, because they reach out to everyone, do data, they do stats, and then they take those surveys and they try to find where we can get money from. Yes, we have partnerships with legislators, we have board of supervisors, and we have state officials. Getting money for our community and researching and sitting there and saying what we need and complaining about that's not going to work. But trying to navigate and find out how we can get these financial resources is going to take partnership, networking, business relationship, finding the common ground, because we're not going to get anything for our city if we're not making ourselves available. And be welcoming, because we need everybody stronger together. That's what I say. Thank you.
Thank you. Pippin?
Thank you. I'm really excited about collaboration and public-private partnerships. The opportunities available to us through those types of relationships are really limited only by our imagination. So I mentioned earlier the interest of Congressman Garamendi and the Secretary of the Navy in shipbuilding and ship repair and growing that industry locally. I'm also excited to share that last year I learned about the Working Waterfront Coalition, which is a training program for folks to get into the maritime industry. And it's a collaboration of workforce development boards all over the Bay Area, employers, and stakeholders all around the Bay. And I was able to get them to successfully start here in Vallejo. They're going to have a cohort here every other 10 weeks. The other classes will be in Alameda. But it's a great opportunity, and I hope you all will follow me on LinkedIn or on Facebook, because I share the opportunities for people to apply for those positions and that training, and it would be great to have more Vallejoans in there. Thank you.
Thank you. Dwight?
As mayor, I will be a strong and vocal advocate for residents of Vallejo, both publicly and in private meetings with state, local, and federal leaders. Building and maintaining strategic relationships with these entities is key to ensuring Vallejo has access to the resources and support we need. I've already had the opportunity to engage with leaders like Congressman Garamendi, Assemblywoman Lori Wilson, Supervisor Wanda Williams, and Supervisor-elect Cassandra James. I will continue to strengthen these connections. To better integrate our city efforts with higher levels of government, I will work directly with the governor's office, our state legislators, and federal representatives to push for Vallejo's inclusion in state and federal funding. These includes applying for infrastructure grants, affordable housing funds, and economic development programs that can directly benefit our city. I will ensure that Vallejo remains competitive by staying informed about new opportunities and advocating for our city's specific needs.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. I would think of, as mayor, city civic governments, we have the larger institution of League of Cities in the United States. I would actively, proactively, and cumulatively work with all of them and bring the resources that we have bought in the past, like the participatory budgeting, which was an award by the League of Cities for the City of Vallejo's project. I would also certainly seek the help of the council, of the assembly person, the state senator, and the congressman. But although they have done things in the past that are satisfactory, in some areas they haven't done enough. So I would collectively work with the entire council as the city leader to get more resources. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next question, we're going to start with Carl. And this is our last prepared question, and then we'll be taking audience questions. Vallejo is a town of potential. Identify areas that you see in which we have not fully developed our potential, and how would you develop it?
Well, potential unrealized means nothing. Vallejo has had potential for many years, as you realize, and the question is, why haven't we lived up to those expectations in areas of retail businesses, tourism, entertainment, transportation? I think I can't get away from that sub-theme. Let's clean up Vallejo. We have to clean up Vallejo. If we don't clean up Vallejo, in simplest terms, like a catchy term in the building, build it and they will come, clean it up and they will come.
Thank you. Alex.
Thank you for the question. Two quick thoughts on that. One, out of the Economic Development Commission, we relaunched Vallejo Main Street to be a voice for small businesses and downtown business owners. And so that is one area that we will continue to do work on to revitalize the downtown area. And the other area that I'm going to be very focused on is Sonoma Boulevard. that is an area where we can, similar to what American Canyon did, get a grant from MTC, really visualize what we want to see along that corridor, create jobs, build more housing, and really create a community that powers our city forward. And so those are the two areas where I will work very hard to realize the city's potential and deliver.
Thank you very much. Brenda?
So for me, the biggest potential that Vallejo has and we keep not paying attention to is our waterfront. Our waterfront is the avenue for people to come. What cities have a gorgeous waterfront that we have? We need to have things happening and businesses be available, things for people to do. Come to the waterfront, have the festivals, come downtown. There's businesses, there's art galleries, there's things for them to stop in and do. So the waterfront is huge for us. And then it's also Mare Island. That is an area that people like to go to. It feels safer, it feels more inviting. We need to get businesses there so that there's more things to do on Mare Island too. And then as that goes along, we can also then rebuild and help build up the downtown with those with the access to those different businesses coming in.
Thank you. Tina?
Yes, ma'am. Okay. We're going back to the waterfront again, and it's there and it's easy. We've been talking about this for years. So like similar cities in the Bay Area that had base closures, Vallejo falls far behind. We have the best weather, the best sunsets, we have the most diverse community, and the last waterfront on the bay that has not been developed. Since those ideas are too big, then we'll probably have to start small in our disenfranchised neighborhoods, starting with Lake Dalwick, who's going to get a $4 million makeover. That will soon probably be a destination for at least the folks that live in South Vallejo. They will complete that project at the end of the year, and I'm looking forward to that. Thank you.
Thank you. Cookie?
Thank you so much. Being that I am very proud, I'm sorry I have to read this, but we only have a little bit of time. Vallejo has significant potential that we can further develop in severe areas. Economic development is crucial. Enhancing local business and attracting new industries can create jobs and stimulate the economy. Community engagement is essential to foster the sense of belonging and partnership amongst residents, ensuring that diverse voices are heard in decision-making process. Infrastructure improvement should focus on undergrading transportation system and public facilities and enhancing accessibility and livability to make a sense of I do belong here and I am welcome here. Additionally, investing in education and workforce training programs can equip residents with skills needed to emerge job marketing. By leveraging Measure P funds effectively, Vallejo can address these areas and unlock their full potential. And with me on the board, that will happen.
Thank you so much. Pippin.
Yeah, thank you. So enhancing and improving our transportation, particularly at the waterfront, will unlock state and federal dollars for high-density residential mixed-use transit-oriented development. We need more than just those dollars, though. We have liquefaction, we have sea level rise, we have aged underground infrastructure. So I've been advocating for an enhanced infrastructure financing district, which would allow us to access future property tax revenues and create more capital for us to be able to incentivize and be a partner in and have a larger say in what that development looks like. Partnering all of that with the update to the waterfront and the downtown specific plans that we are about to embark on, along with the Sonoma Complete Streets project that is happening next year. All three of those combined are really going to be the catalyst for the development we all want to see. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to ask candidates, if you're sitting near someone that's talking, maybe it would help if you put your mic off, because I think that feedback was coming from close mics or something. I don't know. Anyway, it's now, let's make sure that I didn't use any of Dwight's time, please. Okay, thank you.
Thank you for that question. As mayor, I will create a targeted plan to revitalize Springs Road area. I think it's something that we really need to touch on. That's an area that hosts hundreds of small businesses, starting from Spring Road just to Rollingwood. There is such a huge density of businesses there. We really need to start emphasizing revitalizing that area and not start just focusing on the downtown, the Mare Island, the waterfront. We got a huge city that needs a lot of attention and a lot of help, and we really need to start prioritizing every single part of Vallejo because we all deserve it, quite honestly. While much of the focus have been on Mare Island, downtown, and the waterfront, there are some key areas that deserve attention. Georgia Street, for example, is one of the most centralized and important streets in Vallejo, yet it has not seen the level of development it deserves. I will work to create a specific redevelopment plan for Georgia Street, improving its infrastructure, upgrading storefronts, and fostering business growth to make a vibrant commercial corridor once again. Thank you.
Thank you. Ravi?
Yes, thank you. I can think of, like, just for fun, 24 ideas, but I have just under a minute. So I'm going to say a couple of things. We have a lot of experts locally and even some good staff members and managers and the community and the 5 chambers of commerce. So please, as a leader of the city government, with the help and the collaboration of the council members, I would put a plan together, share them with the public, and find ways to implement it within the first term. I would also look at just an inspired statement. When Kamala Harris becomes the president, we would love to have her visit Vallejo within the first year or 2, just like when we had Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders. Remember what we did, what it did for the city? Lastly, I would think of promoting the festivals, the parades, and the arts, even to a larger audience. Thank you.
Thank you.
Right,
Andrea?
Yeah, thank you. I know from talking to folks, Vallejoans are sick of the word potential because we've heard it so much, and I get asked a lot, well, why are we stagnant? Why are we falling short? And I think it comes back to the special interest and the special treatment for special interest. The positions Vallejo has been in, unfortunately, have left us vulnerable to outsiders coming in and extracting. And we need to get back to basics and have leaders that are going to stand up for the community so that when developers come in and when we do attract investment to areas throughout Vallejo, we can get deals that actually deliver meaningful results for Vallejo. And you know, for example, the downtown has stagnated. We all see the vacant, derelict buildings. There's building owners that, you know, are big political players in Vallejo and have made big donations in Vallejo and have gotten special treatment. You look at the waterfront, north and south waterfront. We don't have a cement plant on the south waterfront, but we have convicted felons down there operating illegally. So we've got to get the special interests out and fight for our community, whether it's at the fairgrounds or downtown or the waterfront or Springs or Blue Rock.
Thank you. Right, we have some, first of all, can I say thank you? It is almost impossible to talk about your vision for the city in a minute, and you did remarkably well, all of you. Really, Mike, I commend you all for your thoughtful questions. I haven't had a chance to vet these, so I'm just going to pick one. Here we go. All right. And Alex, aren't you lucky? You get the first question that wasn't in advance, but I know you're up to the task. How did our marina fall into insolvency and disrepair? What would you do to turn it around?
Thank you for that. So, I mean, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail, right? So we haven't really been paying attention to the marina. There hasn't been substantial investment made in the marina. I think just last year, our assembly member was able to secure some dollars for us, and it was the first time in a long time that we were able to get some dollars in the door. And so as we think about a waterfront strategic plan, which will follow the downtown one and the rollout of the general one that I spoke about earlier, we're going to have to make sure we start to see improvement and see improvement right away. There are folks complaining about the rising rates, but they're not getting any services, and so we have to make sure that we provide relief to those folks, and at the same time, we're continuing to secure funds to start to move that plan forward. So those would be the things I would focus on if I'm elected.
Thank you very much. Brenda? Yes, how did our marina fall into insolvency and disrepair? What would you do to turn it around?
Thank you. So the marina is supposed to be funded yearly for dredging. It has not been being funded. The money has been being put to other services. So the entire marina hasn't been dredged since 2012. They've done a little bit of dredging for pathways to the fuel tank, but overall, the marina has not been taken care of. So we have money for the seawall. We're waiting for that to come in. But it's fallen in disrepair because the city hasn't followed through on the obligations. We've taken the money that was supposed to be put aside and moved it to other things. And unfortunately, that's been a case seen on many of the things that happen around the city of Vallejo. So what the city has an obligation, we need to follow through with that obligation.
Thank you. Tina?
One minute. Does same thing?
One
Okay,
minute.
just okay. So I mentioned 4 years that I've been to. I serve as the liaison for the Marina Advisory Commission, and I have been struggling and fighting for the last 4 years to get something done. So part of what she said is true. Part of what Alex has said is true, and then there are other all kinds of other stuff going on, not to mention the fact that the Public Works Department was running the marina for the longest time before the City Council approved an outside management company to come in. They're the ones that are raising the rates for the very few boaters that are there, and they're the ones carrying the large costs. The City of Vallejo needs to centralize all of those slips down to the southern end closer to the yacht club and figure out what they're going to do with the northern end. That way we're going to get able to get more people in, dredge that thing, and get more boaters in so we can collect that revenue.
Thank you.
Just like to re-echo exactly what my previous colleagues have pointed out. I happened to meet one of the workers, and he told me that he is working overtime. And that is a lot to keep up the marina. And he said that it is unfortunate because it doesn't make sense to have to work so hard and not have the funds that they need to keep it up. And so as we know, marina is one of the tourist kind of areas which you first see, whether you're on the waterfront or whether you're in a city. As my colleagues pointed out, the money was there. I remember seeing that there was a check coming to somewhere, but unfortunately it was hardly noted to where it was going. So maybe having that conversation and revisiting where is the dollars. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Pippin?
Yeah, thank you. So, it comes down to competing priorities. When we went through bankruptcy, we had to cut funding and services all across the board. And the marina, unfortunately, was one of those that didn't get the funding that it deserved. Dredging is incredibly expensive. It can only be done 1 month out of the year. For example, the San Francisco Bay Ferry is going to be doing a dredge project next year just to extend their slip, and that's going to cost over $1 million. So looking at dredging the whole marina, it's going to be expensive. We, while I was on council, we did put out an RFP to look at a private proposal for, an RFP for proposals, and it somehow slipped through staff's, priorities, but it needs to be prioritized and looked at how we can, create solutions that don't put all of that burden on the city, because our priorities right now need to be community safety and economic growth and opportunity. If we can find a way to do economic growth and opportunity with a private partner, that would be ideal. Thank you.
Thank you. Dwight?
Thank you for that question. Yes, the dredging has become something that I've grown to know just a tad bit more. Recently, just at the last event we just were at this past weekend, I had an opportunity to sit down with a couple gentlemen that were tabling the yacht club table, and just informing me of the conditions that they're in right now as people who live on houseboats or in that area. It is a very tough time to keep up with the maintenance, but as it's been alluded to here multiple times, we all witnessed that money change from the dredging. There was money from the ARPA. This last round of ARPA funding, I believe they had money set aside for dredging. But if you look into our decision making, it made sense to me to move those funds, because the reason we moved those funds this time for the dredging was to address business safety. And that's why they just came out with that grant, that $60,000 grant, that hardening grant that was just released, a reimbursement grant. So we have to find different ways to prioritize these funds, but also make sure that it's going to make a meaningful impact in our community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you for the question. Dredging is a very complex engineering challenge, and you can't be doing it like smaller cable laying, trench, etc. It needs enormous amount of resources and specialized timing and coordination, as little as I know about them. But not utilizing, not having the entire council agree on a unified plan over a period of time and not disrupting it is one thing we have seen it. So that needs to be addressed. I would also look at international funding sources, if any possible, because we have sister cities from Japan, Korea, and Ensenada that have similar experiences and projects, and they may be interested in sort of a mutual help. Thank you.
Thank you. Andrea?
Yeah, so I do agree with a lot of what's been said about the need for accountability and the need to prioritize, to reprioritize this, because frankly, having a functional marina and having a boat launch is going to be a big part of enhancing quality of life and bringing opportunities to Vallejo. There are a lot of folks that could be utilizing that boat launch as that's an easy quality of life improvement for our residents if we can make it happen. And I think this is a great example of where having close relationships with our state and federal officials will be crucial, because we need to know what legislation is in process prior to even it getting passed so that we can identify potential opportunities to lobby for those funds. I wonder if in the Inflation Reduction Act, which had big climate change provisions, or the infrastructure bill that was passed federally, if we might have been able to identify some funds in there that could have been used for dredging. And I just think we need to be vigilant looking for outside funds to fund that project, because it's long overdue.
Thank you. Carl?
Yes, it seems that, I want to sound like a broken record, prioritizing that project is the issue. Once you prioritize it as a team effort, that means everybody's involved, finance, the city council, the city manager, everybody who has a hand in it, then you have to find the funding. And if that's the issue, if the only thing that slowed this down was the funding, well, go look for the funding. Go to private investors. Go look at similar cities that have the similar problems. See if they did it cheaper. Find different engineering ways to get that done. There are alternatives, but you have to have, first of all, talented people. You have to have the will to want to do it, and you have to make it a priority. If you're not making it a priority, it goes to the back of the line, and other things get put up front. And that would be part of the economic development for the marina, by making it modern and accessible, and it would complement the waterfront.
Thank you. Unfortunately, that's all the time that we have for audience questions, because we have 2 minutes for each candidate to wrap up. So I'm going to, you need a stretch or anything, or you're okay to keep going? All right. You're used to it, okay. All right. So the candidates will each have 2 minutes, and in your closing remarks, please include actions. Well, I'm going to read this question in a second, or the comment, but I do also want to say, please take a moment to let the audience know how they can find out more information. If you have a website or an email or something you'd like them, I think this would be a great opportunity to tell candidates where they can find out more about you. But please also, yeah, you have a lot to do in 2 minutes. Please include the actions you will take to bring diverse communities, socioeconomically, culturally, racially, and politically together to create a greater cohesiveness and inclusivity in Vallejo. And we're going to start with Brenda.
Okay. So again, I feel like a broken record too. It's all about community and being available and meeting with everyone and hearing what they have to say and getting them connected to each other. It's really important that we are a connected city, that we are sharing our thoughts, our problems, so that we can move forward. You can find me, just so that I don't forget this part. I have a website at brenda4citycouncil.com, and it's also the same thing except for it's at Gmail. So brenda4citycouncil at Gmail. So you can reach me either one of those places. I just really want to say that I believe in this city. I believe we need to do hard work, and I believe that community involvement will help bring us back to where we need to be. We need to listen to what's going on. We need to gather the relationships that are necessary, and we need to be able to bridge the gaps wherever there are any. And I believe in this city. I want to work hard for you, and I will work hard for you. Thank you.
Thank you. Tina.
Thank you. Yes, I would really love your support for the next 4 years. I've worked hard the last 4 years, and a lot of that work has not been completed. It takes longer. I was very naive when I got on council in 2020. So now that I know the challenges that it takes to be on the city council and behind closed doors and out in public and out in the community, my strongest strength is being out in the community, which is why I would like to see our police department be out in the community more. I've been doing this now for the last year. I've had 11 town halls this year alone, and I want to continue doing that because that's my biggest strength. As far as diversity and inclusiveness, what was not included in here is our LGBTQ plus community and the transphobia that is existing with our youth. And I want to be able to address that with our new superintendent of the Vallejo-City Unified School District, who has a trans daughter. And I will be meeting with him in conversations because that group of folks are experiencing suicide, drugs, mental stress, and violence. And that's a group of people that I want to work forward working with. Thank you.
Thank you. Cookie.
Hello. Where you can reach me, I want to say that real quick, is 707-653-5265. And my email address is vote4gordon@gmail.com. For me, this is important. I stand before you today. I feel with profound sense of responsibility and hope. If elected to be your city council member for 2025 starting, my commitment will foster an environment where every voice is heard and valued. Vallejo is a city of rich diversity and it has cultural activity, racial identifications, and political, and it is very diverse that makes our city vibrant. However, it is present challenges that we must address together. Together, we can be able to do more together as a team. I have a son who lives with Down syndrome. He is a young adult, and unfortunately for him, he gets ignored. He is 24 years old, and he created a support group with other African-American individuals who live with Downs. And unfortunately, they are ignored. People don't even know that they vote. I would like to make sure their voice is heard just as well. Second, I will advocate for diversity inclusion task force with our city government. The task force will consist of representatives and various communities across Vallejo and across our sister cities. By enforcing voices from different backgrounds, we can find out what people's true gifts are. That's how we grow. Each and every last one of us in this room have opportunities to give to the city and to hold ourselves accountable. And if you ask me, we can do it together. I've seen it happen. And I'm telling you right now, South Vallejo will benefit for whatever Vallejo City does. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Pippin?
I was honored to serve as your councilwoman for 9 years. I understand the unique challenges and opportunities our city faces. My vision for Vallejo is bold. I aim to attract new industries and expand existing industries that align with our community's strengths, ensuring we create not just jobs, but sustainable careers that uplift all of our residents. To achieve this, I'm committed to developing a skilled workforce tailored to these industries, providing education and training from cradle to career and beyond that empower our people to succeed in the evolving job market. But we can't just stop at job creation. Vallejo needs a transportation infrastructure that supports our growth, which is why I'm advocating for a multimodal transportation hub. This hub will serve as the backbone of high-density, mixed-use, transit-oriented development, transforming our waterfront and downtown into vibrant, thriving areas that connect our community and attract further investment throughout our city. We all know the challenges we face: widespread crime, lack of trust in law enforcement and the government, and too many competing priorities that our budget can't sustain. I know how to get us on track. We must make the hard decisions to get to sustainability swiftly and launch to the next level. Vallejo's time is now. I'm ready to hit the ground running, ensuring that we don't just grow, but flourish in a way that benefits every resident. My experience, vision, and unwavering dedication to Vallejo are the keys to realizing our full potential. I'm excited to share that just over the last couple of weeks, I've been able to connect Centers for Urban Excellence with local employers, creating youth internship opportunities for justice-involved youth right here in Vallejo. Let's get together and work for a vibrant, safe, thriving Vallejo for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Dwight.
Thank you all again for attending today. My name is Dwight Monroe Jr. I'm running for Vallejo Mayor this upcoming election, November 5th, 2024. I also want to say, because it's getting close, that's my birthday as well. So that'll be a birthday present as well. But don't vote for me just because it's my birthday. Vote for me because I truly am the best candidate here on the stage today. And what I want to leave you guys with is we really need a hands-on working mayor right now. As a small business owner here in the city, I know how it is to provide benefits and services to this community and how truly enriching it is that people love supporting small businesses here in the city of Vallejo and just creating that sense of community by just delivering that product with excellent customer service and overall satisfaction from our customers. Like I mentioned earlier, I got over 200 5-star Google reviews on my business, and just like I take care of my customers, I'm gonna take care of this city. I promise you guys, I am relentless with the work that I do. I've been very committed to the city of Vallejo. As I mentioned earlier, currently I'm the vice chair of the Economic Development Commission. I serve on the Vallejo Police Chief Advisory Board. I'm an executive committee member for the NAACP. I'm also the vice president at the Vallejo Naval and Historic Museum, and I'm also the president of Angel Heart. And I know many of you guys in the room because I'm truly in the community. I'm really that boots on the ground candidate that truly does know the pulse and the heart of the community and the Vallejoans. Right now, I want to leave you guys with this. Make sure everybody in your house votes. If you got a 17-year-old that's turning 18 in the next week, 2 weeks, make sure they're registered to vote. Get them ready to vote. Get them energized. All souls to the polls. Thank y'all.
Thank you. Ravi.
Thank you. One more time, I want to express my gratitude to each one of you and all the organizers of this event. I'm very grateful. Having observed and lived and spent a lot of time with the community, with my neighbors, with the local businesses, festivals, events, celebrations, the art community, and most of the past and present leadership in the City Hall, I will have to say that I bring in a servant leadership kind of a style, personality, calmness, and a determination that is not often seen. Each of the past mayors that I have known quite well had their own crisis, a bankruptcy in one case, and then there were police shootings in another case, and there is a COVID, and there's always something coming up, throwing at you. And to balance all of that needs a combination not only of the collaboration of all your council members, the unity and the sense of addressed priority, common priority, but also a true sense of caring. And by spending time with the community at all levels, often as possible, I bring that style and that care. And no matter what happens, I will continue to serve as I have in the last 15 years at several levels in the community. Thank you.
Thank you. Andrea?
So thank you all. I I think the community does need to come together, and the one thing we can agree on right now is that the status quo is not working in Vallejo. Our community is suffering, and we need change. We need to do things differently, and we need to rebuild trust in government. And I'm excited to tackle the issues. I have a policy background. I want to get to work, but fundamentally what we need to do here is facilitate a culture change. And it's a campaign about values. It's about bringing people together to address our problems, finally restoring the honesty and transparency that our community deserves, because people are sick of the waste. Taxpayers, we're sick of the waste. We're sick of the lies. We're sick of the lip service with no action. We're sick of the excuses. Vallejoans deserve honest, transparent leadership. It's not going to be easy, but we're going to get through it together. And we have a really tremendous opportunity in this election to reset our community. We have great leaders coming in at every level. For my part, again, I'll be accountable just to the community. I've spent my whole career in public service, and I'm not taking money from special interest. I'm not beholden to anybody but the people of Vallejo. I have no interest in building a career in politics. I want to serve this community and continue my teaching career. What we need is that transparent, ethical, inclusive leadership that will go out and meet folks where they are, bring in folks that aren't included, because Vallejo's greatest asset is our community. It's our people, and right now we're not being leveraged. Our government is excluding folks rather than including them. Our government doesn't demonstrate cultural competency or an equity lens, and we need leaders that are going to get us back on track and finally leverage and realize that asset of our community so that we can unlock that dastardly potential word that we were talking about earlier. So I'm running on transparency. You can go to my website, andreaforvallejo.com, FOR. I've recorded everything that I've done, so you can see every speech I've ever done, the 2-hour town hall I did at JFK Library, all the events that I've had. You can see on my website, and you can reach out if you have any questions. I'm really excited to bring positive change to our city.
Thank you. Carl.
First and foremost, please vote. If you don't vote for me, that's okay. Please vote. I think for me, it's no mystery. I believe that it's the safety in the community, the safe streets, your ability to drive without being molested, your ability to go to stores without being held at gunpoint, your ability to feel safe is the platform for the diversity, the inclusiveness, the fabric we need to build in the community to make it work. My experience in communities like this, on larger stages in the Bay Area, in Oakland, in San Francisco, in Alameda County, for what I've learned in 39 years of being in these communities that have struggled with these issues, makes me the perfect candidate to help Vallejo out of this decline. And it's been in decline for a while. And I know you guys want answers because, you know, I'm wearing this hat now as a candidate, but I'm just like you. I'm wondering why these problems have continued for so long, and why aren't we getting the answers that we want? Vallejo is supposed to be the city of opportunity. Well, let's make it safe first. Then let's make it beautiful. Then let's make it prosperous. On my platform, I say economic renaissance. I say Vallejo's on an edge of an economic renaissance. Only if they get their public safety and their image in check so they can move ahead for a brighter future. Thank you.
Thank you. And Alex?
Oh, sorry, electcarlbonner.com.
Thank you.
I want to thank you all for tuning in this afternoon. I'll start with the second half of your question. I believe in my heart of hearts that my campaign is the most diverse campaign and inclusive campaign this election cycle. We have folks from the Democratic Party, from our firefighters union, from the Chamber, Sierra Club, BUAPA, a whole host of organizations that have gotten behind this effort because they believe we present a new way that's grounded on respect, transparency, and follow-through and action, not just promises. And so I invite you guys to tune into MatiasForDistrict1.com and to join this effort in these next couple of weeks to help us finish the job and really start to move our city forward. I currently count with the support of 4 sitting council members and Councilmember-elect Letta Jew, and I can tell you that beginning in January, we will hit the ground running and we'll get the city to work. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, and thank you all for, let's give them a hand. You did a marvelous job, really.
I'm so impressed with what I've heard here today. Vallejo truly is a city of potential. And what you heard are some very different approaches to how they're going to reach that potential. You have a hard job selecting the right leaders, but that's where it lives. That's where it all lives, finding the right people in this moment for what you and your community needs. But personally, I feel very hopeful. I heard a lot today, but the thing that struck me the most is you have a whole lot of people that have deep caring for this community. This isn't a stepping stone to go someplace higher. This is really about, this is my home, and I want it to be the best that it can be. I think that is government at its best, personally. So I think a round of applause for all of you. Truly, it is a calling to step forward and do that, so thank you. Thank you also to our host for this beautiful venue. We really appreciate the technological support that we got that we wouldn't have been able to do without you. And also for the coming together of this community to bring the questions. The questions from the audience were remarkable, and I'm so sorry we didn't have more time to go over them all. But know that we're going to make sure that each of the candidates see what those questions were, because there's some things that really could help them in terms of thinking about what the next steps look like. The League of Women Voters thanks you all for your participation in this very important process. We said at the beginning, and without wanting to be redundant, we're supposed to remind you at the end that the video that is being made, it cannot be used it must be used in its entirety. So if you see just an excerpt, you know that it's being used the wrong way, and we trust all of you to do that. We thank you all for your time and for your effort, and hope that every one of you finds your way to the polls on November 5th or before and exercises that very important right of suffrage. So thank you.
Can we all give them a clap? Can we give them a clap for their participation and also the agencies that help support? Thank you.